Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to your February reset. So today we're working on our day 3, which is showing the shoulders some love. It's a really important thing to do and stretch out because often we go through life a bit hunched. We just kind of neglect the shoulders a little bit. So stretching them out can release tension and also be a really good de-stressor. So we will make a start. One thing I will mention is that I will be using a strap partway through for one of the poses. And if you don't have a strap, then simply just use a dressing gown cord or maybe get a blanket, roll it up and hold it instead. But apart from that, that's all you will need. So we'll make a start and we'll come to the back of the mat, toes together, knees apart, and we'll sink down into our child's pose. So rest the forehead down onto the mat, sink down in between the legs and just start taking some breaths here. And I always like to set an intention at the beginning of my practice, even if it is a quick and short one. So just take a moment here to think about why you've stepped on the mat today. Perfect. So we're going to go into our first shoulder stretch and start to bend into the arms. Bring the hands a prayer position or bring them together and then just move them above the head. So you should feel a really nice stretch from the shoulders down towards the elbows. So keep going. Just keep pushing the shoulders down further and further. And don't worry, this is just the first pose, so we don't want to go too far. We'll get more stretches as we go through. Take a breath here. And then gently start to release the hands back down. We're going to walk the hands back towards the knees. And we're going to bring the knees together so they're hip distance. So we're just going to be kneeling here. So from here, we want to bring the hands behind the back, interlace the hands, and start to push the fists away. So try to keep the ribs in, and we're just concentrating on the shoulders. So push, the more you push your hands away, the more the shoulders and the shoulder blades will come together, and the front of the body, the front of the chest will open up. Take a breath here. Perfect. Then start to release. Come forwards to your tabletop. And we're going to have the hands under the shoulders, knees under the hips. Inhale, push the belly down and come towards your cow position. So we're moving the shoulder blades towards one another. And exhale, start to round in the back. Look towards the knees. Inhale again, opening up. Come to your arching spine. And then exhale, rounding in the back. This rounding in the back is really good for stretching out any tension you have in your shoulders. We'll come back towards our tabletop. And we're going to start to move back towards that child's pose again, sinking down in between the legs. But from here, you want to think about bringing the hands together, so interlace the hands. And we're going to start to shift forward, so lift the hips up, bringing the top of the head down towards the mat. So from here, push into the elbows and lift out the shoulders. And the more you lean forwards, the more of a stretch you'll get into the shoulders. Take a breath. And then we'll start to sink the hips back down. And we're going to come to kneeling again. And I'm going to grab my strap. So if you have got something that you can use, then just grab hold of it now. So have the strap in front of you. And we're going to start to circle the arms back and forwards. This is a really good shoulder opener. And it starts to get into hip mobility, shoulder mobility. So what you want to do is you want to think about your hands being shoulder distance and then open them out maybe a foot wider. So you're wider than shoulder distance and you don't want to be too tight because it will be difficult to move and get into the shoulders. So if you do want to go even a little bit wider and then shorten it if you need to, then go for it. So we'll set ourselves up, having the shoulders down. And while we're going through these shoulder circles, just think about tucking the ribs in and just concentrate on moving those shoulders. So from here, we'll start to bring the band up above the head. Again, think about the shoulders. And then we'll go backwards all the way towards the hips. So go wider if you need to. You don't need to be really holding it really short. Just start wide first. So we'll come back up and down in front of us. So we're going to take about 3 more of these, just nice and slowly. And that's 1. And 2. Again, concentrate on the ribs. Really try to hold them in. And we'll go for our last one. Perfect. So we can pop the band and the strap to one side. And we'll just start to come back towards our tabletop. From here, we'll take an inhale. As we exhale, draw the right arm under the left, bringing the right shoulder and ear towards the mat. This is a really nice shoulder opener because you put your weight onto the shoulder and it just pushes out any tension. Keep your left hand where it is, or you can start to bring it towards the top of the mat, or you can bring the left hand all the way round behind the back towards the right thigh, taking a little bit of a bind. Take a breath. And then gently start to release the left hand back down to the mat. Push into the mat and we'll come back to our tabletop. Take an inhale here. And then exhale, thread the left arm under the right. Again, bringing the left shoulder and ear towards the mat. And go to whichever variation you want to. Maybe you want to bring your hand towards the top of the mat. Maybe you want to circle it round, bringing the right hand towards that left thigh. We'll take a breath here. And then gently start to bring your right hand back down towards the mat. Start to lift back up. And then we'll walk the hands slightly further forwards, tuck the toes, and we're just going to come up for a downward facing dog. So in downward facing dog, you always want to be lifting out of the shoulders, but also externally rotating them. So it feels like you're opening them up and pushing the shoulder blades around the body. We'll take a breath here. And then we're going to start to tiptoe our way towards the top of the mat, finding our standing forward bend. Feet are going to be hip distance. Bend into the knees. And from here, just let the head hang heavy. Bring your hands behind the back. Interlace the hands, and we're just going to start to push those fists towards the front of the room. This is a really deep stretch. It's a really good way to open up the shoulders and not just stretch them. So from here, we're going to come to our flat back, keeping the interlace that we have. Start to straighten into the legs. Lift your upper body up slightly. Push the tailbone back, and you're going to reach the hands instead of towards the top of instead of towards the front of the room, reach towards the back. So we're in a nice flat back. And we'll start to stand all the way up this time, coming to our Tadasana, keeping the hands in an interlace. And from here in our Tadasana, start to push the fist down towards the mat. And you may be comfortable just looking forwards, or you may want to reach your face up towards the ceiling. Perfect. Start to stand back up. And then from here, we're going to turn to face the left of the mat. Bring your right foot parallel to the short edge of the mat and step all the way towards the left side or the other side. So we're setting up for a wide leg fold. Here you want to think about your heels being slightly out and your toes slightly in. Energize the legs, so straighten them. Bring your hands behind your back. So we're interlacing again. Push the fist down. Take an inhale here. As we exhale, we're going to push the hips back. Start lifting the tailbone up and drop down in towards your wide-legged fold. So we're doing a similar thing as we did when we were in our standing forward bend, but this time we've got nice straight wide legs and we're just reaching the top of the head down towards the mat, pushing those interlaced hands away from us. We're going to come to a flat back here. So we're going to start to lift the upper body, keep the hands where they are, push the hands back towards the back of the room or behind you, lift the tailbone. And then inhale, start to come all the way back up, engaging in the legs. And one more time, push the fist down. Keep those legs nice and straight. And then gently start to lift back up. We're going to step all the way towards the top of the mat. Inhale, reach the arms up. And then exhale, hinge at the hips, come all the way down, come towards that standing forward bend again. Inhale, come towards your flat back. Push the shoulder blades away. And then exhale, plant the hands, step back towards your plank, but lower the knees straight away. Drop the upper body down so you're lying onto the mat. Bring your hands underneath your shoulders. Inhale, push the push the pelvis into the mat and lift up to your cobra. So in your cobra, think about opening up in the front of the body. So push the shoulder blades back and down. Engage the glutes, take an inhale. And then exhale, drop down. From here, we'll bring the right arm out to the side. So you want to have your hand in line with your shoulder. Start to push yourself onto your right side body. Rest the head down. And we're coming to our crushed wing pose. So it's a really nice way to stretch the shoulder without any tension or without holding the body too much. It's a bit like thread the needle actually. Thread the needle, you use your weight. So here we're using the weight of our body as well. If you want to go a little bit deeper, then just bring this left foot to the top leg behind the right one. And this helps to open up in the hips, but also puts a little bit more weight onto that shoulder. Take a breath here. And then gently start to roll to the other side. So straighten the left arm out to the side, hand in line with the shoulder. And then start to push yourself onto that left shoulder. And then again, if you want to go a little bit deeper, bring the right foot behind the left leg. Just push yourself into that shoulder stretch a little bit more. Perfect. Gently start to roll back onto your tummy. And then we'll push back to our child's pose. So knees nice and wide, toes together, sit back on the heels, straighten forwards. And we'll come and end the class where we began the class. So we'll start taking some belly breaths again. Come back to your intention, whatever it was that was guiding you through the practice. Just take a moment here to acknowledge that now. And also take a moment to think about how your shoulders feel. Do they feel a bit more open? Do they feel like there's less tension in them? Maybe they don't feel any different at all, but hopefully they do. But just take a moment to acknowledge how they're feeling. Perfect. Then we can start to push the hands into the mat. Walk back so we're kneeling at the back of the mat. Bring the hands together at heart center and namaste. So there we go. Thank you so much for coming along to your day 3 of the February reset. Tomorrow is your day 4. I'll see you then.